G'day guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back for another episode of Wasteland Survival. I do apologise about my voice, but yeah, I'm kind of sick at the moment, so it's a little bit deeper than usual. Anyway, at the end of the last episode I got most of the shooting range done, and I was reading through the comments section of that episode and quite a few people mentioned that they would like me to add a door here. Probably given the fact that, you know, people are going to be firing rounds off here, and it's probably a bit of a safety issue having, yeah, just a kind of wide open space to the armory. So, yeah, I kind of agree with you guys on that front. There were a couple of suggestions that mentioned that I should probably use a gate here. I could probably use a gate very similar to what I've done out here. So we could just put a gate there like that. Although, I don't know, I kind of feel like a gate is a bit overkill. So instead, maybe what I can do is add in a door here. So what we could do essentially is, let me just grab some steel blocks here for a second. Probably what we could do is we could just add in some 2x1 tips here, very similar to the other side of the room. Put those in the right direction, and then we could just place our door here. So pretty much like this. Where is the offset door? So we could place a door here like this. The only thing is though that if I place a door there, that's fine, but on this side it kind of looks a little bit weird, and I could fill that in with more blocks. Like maybe I could put in some of these blocks and we could just have a single door. So we could just do something like that, or we could kind of extend that out so there's like a double door very similar to what is on the rest of the base. I am kind of leaning towards doing a double door. If I do decide to do a double door, what I would probably have to do is move the front of the room, or basically where this portion of the room starts, I would need to move that to about here. So yeah, I could do that. Because I feel like the shooting range is quite long, so you know we definitely have the room to do so, but I'm not exactly sure if I want to make it any longer or not. But what I do need to figure out is exactly where I'm going to put my bench and all that sort of stuff, and some weapon racks and things like that, so that you can kind of shoot from cover, if that kind of makes sense. Alright, well I think for the moment I'm pretty happy with just leaving the single door here. I was really tempted to put in a double door, but honestly, to modify this room a lot, it's just going to be a royal pain in the butt. So I'll just leave the single door there for now. That should probably be enough, given that this room will be pressurized as well. And also, given the fact that I probably want to start my bench probably about here. So I think what I'm going to use is something very similar to these desks here. So what we'll do is we'll grab some desks, if I can ever find them on my hotbar. Here they are. So we'll grab some desks, and I think we should probably add them about here. And thanks to these new desks, we have a few more options. So I'm going to add my desks along here like this. And then, even though there's like kind of a gap here, which is, yeah, a little bit annoying, it still gives me a little bit of room to kind of walk through. And then what I can do on the side here is I can go ahead and add in some weapon racks. So we can add some weapon racks like this, although I will make them the dark grey color. So we'll just add 2 weapon racks like that on either side. And I think also what I'm going to do is I'm going to download this mod where you have like kind of display cases, and I would love to have display cases of weapons basically around here somewhere. I don't know exactly where I'm going to put them, but I will download that mod in a moment, and we can get around to playing with that. Now the thing is here that these benches are quite low, so I think behind these what I can do is go ahead and put in some of these covers. Although to be honest, they're not really that much taller than the benches themselves, although it would add a little bit more detail. Let me just see how tall a half armor block is. So how tall is a half block? Honestly, it's not that much taller than this fire cover. So maybe I can go ahead and just add in these fire covers behind these benches, and then I think it would just give it that little bit more detail. So we can get these things welded up and then see how everything looks after that. And then we can start thinking about the targets and getting all those built. Alright, fantastic. So everything is welded up, and I think so far it's looking pretty good. The lights are a little bit dim in this room, so maybe I'll brighten them up a bit. At least for now, until I can kind of see what I'm doing. So, alright, so I've gone ahead and I've increased the range a little bit of these lights. Also went ahead and renamed them because I just, totally forgot to do so before. But I think before I worry about these targets, I might add some more benches here. I don't know if I really want to get... I'll get rid of this control seat for now, and then we can find our desks in the menu here and just add a few more of these to my inventory. And I'm thinking maybe we'll add a desk here in either corner. Just kind of makes sense to do that. In fact, you know what? I'm going to get rid of that, and maybe we can add in some corner desks here. So the ones that were added recently in... It might have actually been the last update that these were added. I can't exactly remember. Now, question is, do I add a bench that goes across here? I think I might add one more bench here, or a desk. I don't know. I kind of think it looks like a bench rather than a desk, but that's just me. So it is this block here. So let's add another corner desk there. And yeah, I think that is enough desks to kind of populate this room. So now we can probably move on to these targets. Now, oh, darn it. I didn't have enough resources for that. Alright. Now, moving on to the targets. So the targets themselves... I mentioned that I would like to have some sort of moving target here. So what I would like to do is I would like to place in a piston. So we'll kind of build this up the top so I can kind of show you what I plan to do. So we'll have a piston down there, but that'll kind of be sunken down by one block and it'll be underneath the floor. And then the piston will kind of push out, and then on top of the piston we'll have something like this. So we'll have like a hinge, and then on the end of the hinge we'll have a target. So let me just add a target to my hotbar here. So then we'll have a target like that. And then I'm thinking maybe... So there's two ways I could do this. What I plan to do at some point, can we jump over this? No, we can just use our jetpack. At some point, what I plan to do is put in a push button. So I'll probably put a push button on each side of the room here. So we'll just basically add one of these vertical button panels. So one there and probably one on the other side of the room. And then when you push the button, all these targets start moving around. So the first target will basically be a target that will move back and forth, and then it will kind of pop up when you push the button. Now I've kind of got two options here. I could make the piston perpetually moving back and forth, and then when you push the button, then the target pops up. Or I could make it so that when you push the button, then the piston and the target start moving. I think, to be honest with you, the easiest way to go would be to make the piston perpetually moving back and forth, and then when you push the button, the target pops up. I think that would honestly be the easiest way to go. As I was saying, what we can do is we can place in some pop-up targets. So for them, basically what I'll do is just place them on the back of hinges. much like what I've done with this one, except they won't be mounted to a piston. They'll kind of just be mounted to the floor, or like another sort of block there. So, you know, we can do something like that. Although, if I do something, yeah, to have these connected to a conveyor system to the end of a piston is not so bad. I can have a conveyor junction at the end of that. But let's say I want to grind out, say, this block here, right? I really need to go through and repair this. So let's say grind out this block as well. So what I would do is I would place a hinge like here, place a hinge on that wall there, and then I would go ahead and place my target there, basically on the hinge, and then the hinge would pop the target up, so it would be standing at this level. But then I would kind of need a conveyor junction here or something like that. Actually, no, I don't. All I need now is these blocks, so I can hide everything. So all I need to do is place in one of these blocks and everything will be hidden. Okay, cool. So that's awesome. These new blocks actually come in handy quite a lot. So alright, what we'll do is we'll grind out this, and then we'll place in our piston and our hinge and our target, and then we'll kind of figure out how we're going to control all this stuff with timer blocks and things like that. I don't know if there's a script to even do this. I know there are many scripts out there, but I don't know. Maybe you guys can mention one in the comments. But alright, let's get started with this. Okay, so the test dummy is welded up, although for whatever reason the arms and legs and things like that aren't welded up, which is a bit strange. Okay, so what I need to do here is figure out the constraints of this hinge here. So I'm thinking, let me just change the velocity of this thing. So, alright, so the upper limit, well, let's just go 90 degrees here. So negative 90 is going to be my upper limit, although maybe we need to change the upper limit to 0. So we'll change the upper limit here to 0, and it looks like the lower limit should be at negative 90, which is fine. I don't know why the target dummy is not fully welded up. That is strange. I don't know, maybe when I reload the game it'll kind of fix itself. Anyway, so the range of motion this thing can have is pretty much from this point here. So let me just temporarily grind out that block. So that's one and a half blocks away from the wall there. So that would be about to this point here. Would it actually? No, sorry, it needs to be about here. So let's weld this back up. So about the furthest this thing can go is to about this point. Although I don't know if it's actually going to hit this block here. So maybe we need to get rid of this block and drill this out. And then we'll just kind of extend this piston out. So let me set the max distance for this piston to about 7.5 meters. and let's reverse it and see what happens once it gets to its max distance. Whoops, I accidentally right-clicked when I should have left-clicked. Alright, let us set the distance to that and see what happens. Alright, so 7.5 meters brings it up to about this point, but I can probably bring it up to this point. It's a bit hard to see, but I'm pretty sure these test dummies here are 2 blocks tall. No, they're only 1 block tall. Okay, cool. So essentially we have... so essentially the target test dummy would end up here. So if I want it to go here, I can actually put this block back. So what I can do is I can set the maximum range of this piston to 10 meters. I hope all of this makes sense. It kind of makes sense to me. But yeah, let me know if it doesn't in the comments. And then in front of this test dummy, let me just see, how tall is this thing again? It is 1 block tall, but I would actually like to build one here. That is interesting. Alright, let me complete this one here and see. That's strange. Why is it not fully welding up? Alright, there must be something wrong. I need to reload the game, obviously, and that's what the problem is. But yeah, I guess we'll kind of just work from, I guess, just the image of this thing. So let's see what it looks like behind one of these. Let me just place one down here. And yeah, quite a lot of it kind of sticks up above these barriers. So I'm thinking maybe what we'll do is we'll grab our barriers. I believe they're on this one here. And then we'll just place them all along here, because this is essentially going to be the range of that piston. These barriers are in the perfect range. So the target dummy should just go back and forth like that a couple of times. And then the one behind it should kind of pop up and down. So yeah, I think that will work out pretty cool. Alright, so let's get all this stuff welded up. And maybe we can then place in another test dummy there. Maybe another one over there. And I could do something similar to what they did in the Sparks of the Future. I don't know what you would call it. It was a world that you could download from Keen Software and you could kind of explore. And they did make a shooting range very similar to what I'm doing here, although obviously it was much more futuristic. And they did have like a building where a dummy would kind of pop up there. I'm not sure if I really want to do that in my shooting range. Maybe I'll just make it so that they're all kind of, yeah. Or maybe I can just put him on a platform. I don't know. So anyway, let's get this welded up and then we can kind of figure out where we want to put the rest of them. Okay, so this is all finished now. I have actually reloaded the game, but for some reason these target dummies don't seem to be displaying properly, so I might have to test that out in another world. Maybe there's a mod that I've got installed that's interfering with that. So yeah, I don't know. We'll worry about that in a little bit, but for now, I think I would like to figure out where I would like to put the next target. So I'm thinking probably another 2 targets, and I'll probably start from about here. So we'll have
inventory full.
Oh, that probably wasn't the best idea. So alright, let's put this block here. So what I'll probably do here is place my conveyor, or my, yeah, armored conveyor here, so that the top is kind of facing. Now, somebody in the comments section of the last video mentioned that I should probably just use the build and repair to repair these targets. But I mean, you know, I might as well just wire these things up, since, you know, they're kind of, they self-repair themselves anyway, and it's probably better for the build and repair system that I am going to put into this room to like kind of repair the damage that I do to the blocks when I'm shooting stuff. So I'll probably just leave it for that purpose. Okay, so like I said, here we'll place in our curved conveyor, which will be like that way. And I'm really liking these new conveyors. It's awesome that you can hide these things. Alright, so let's drill this out. And then what we'll do is, obviously we'll have to place some blocks underneath this, but might grind this out and then drill that. Alright, let's place our conveyor once more. Alright, let's place it there. Okay, so now we shall place down our hinge, which will be... Which way is this one going? I can't remember. Where's the dot on that? So the dot is facing upwards. Should probably face it the other way since the little line on the top of it is kind of negative. Let's spin that around. No, okay, so it needs to go that way, which is the same direction as the other one. Only problem is this probably won't be airtight. I guess it will once I put a conveyor junction underneath that, so that's okay. Alright, so let's build up the hinge itself. And then let's set the upper limit to 0 again. Set that to 0. Cool, so that's set to 0. Let's change the velocity to maybe like -5. Yep, that'll do. And let's exit out of there. And then let's place our target on top here. Excuse my cat in the background. And place that one there. And still, we have no target. Okay, that kind of sucks. But there's not really too much I can do about that. And I'm thinking maybe we'll stagger the other one. So we'll put like maybe another one, I don't know, maybe starting from here, I guess. How far away is this one from the wall? So this is like 2 blocks. So maybe the next one I can put just like 1 block from the wall. So we could start it like maybe here or something. So we will start it from here. So here I'll have another reinforced conveyor tube. So that will be the same direction as that one. Place that down. Obviously I need the components for that. And the components for another hinge and another target. Alright, so let's place our last target. And again, I am short on components. I don't know what is happening with the build planner, but it is seriously trolling me at the moment. Okay, cool. Now, so I got those 2 targets, this target here. Now I'm thinking maybe I might raise this floor up a little bit, or put a step here. So maybe we can put in something like, I don't know, a couple of these blocks here. Maybe we can do one of these blocks, and then maybe one of these, one of these, one of these, and then maybe another block like that there. And then we can have a target that is kind of up high here. Yeah, so we could do something like that as well, so that we got another target that is kind of, yeah, just at a different level to everything else. I think that would look a little bit cooler. And then maybe on the side here we can put in a set of stairs so that we can kind of walk up there. And maybe I will place a catwalk that goes across here as well, but I don't know, we'll see what happens. So first let's weld all this stuff up. Well, at least I had the materials on me to do that at least. Alright, let's kind of fill this thing in. So I'm thinking maybe we'll just put in, oh, that's the wrong block. I want a 2x1 base. So probably have 2 bases here, 2 bases on this side. Wait, I need 3, don't I? No, I could just use these. Or can I? I guess it doesn't really matter what it looks like from this side, because I need room for my hinge. Although I could just place the hinge here like this. And yeah, that'll work. So I'll place my hinge there. And then I'll have the dummy sitting on top there. So we'll have our dummy like this. And then it can kind of just fold down from there. Yeah, that actually works pretty good. Alright, let me get some health and I'll be back. Alright, cool. So, I took the liberty of getting everything welded up while I grabbed myself some health. Don't know what I'm going to do with this area. I don't know. We'll just kind of leave it for now. But from here, it actually doesn't look too bad. It looks quite interesting. It looks really good apart from the fact that these darn targets aren't working and I can't figure out why. Oops, I just realized I made a mistake. I need to get rid of that block so that it's got somewhere to fold down into. Alright, let us set the parameters for this one. So the upper limit, I want to set that to 0. So hopefully this thing will move back when I do that, although we'll see what happens here. So we'll move that to 0. Okay, cool. Now if I reverse this thing, yeah, that's 90 degrees, isn't it? Yeah, it is. So that will kind of stop there. Okay, cool. So maybe I'll set this to... I want to see what kind of speed here, so... I need to get out of... There's no control panel for this thing, is there? Okay, let's try this. So we'll press the enter key, and then we'll go with -10. And, okay, let's try this again. Let's go with 10. Yeah, so I reckon 10 RPM is pretty good. That's probably the speed that I'm going to set all of these things to. So I'll go ahead and set all that, and then we can start thinking about what we're going to do with the actual timer blocks to get all this stuff working. So essentially what I want to do here is I want this target, so I want to push the button, then I want this target to kind of pop up, and then it stays around for a number of seconds, then it pops back down, then the next one pops up for the same amount of seconds, then that pops down, that one pops up, then, you know, so on and so forth, so that all 4 of these targets kind of pop up at different intervals, and then you kind of shoot them at different intervals, if that makes sense. And maybe I can even put a 5th target over here somewhere or something like that. Maybe you can have one pop out from the wall or something like that. That would be interesting. So yeah, that is essentially what I want to do. Although, yeah, we need to do some pretty funky stuff with these timer blocks to get all this stuff to work. Okay, so I've actually kind of figured out why these targets aren't working properly. So as it turns out, you actually need to go and place some steel plates in their inventory, and then they will actually weld themselves up. So I assume though that when you kind of connect them, so let's just chuck in, I guess, 50 steel plates here and see what happens. So yeah, as you can see, it kind of welds itself up. So I'm assuming that if I was to connect these to the base's conveyor system, then they would just go ahead and weld themselves up. I actually didn't know that. I've never toyed around with these blocks before, so that actually came as a bit of a surprise to me. So a little bit of an embarrassing moment as well, because I actually put a bug report on Keen's website, and they were the ones who actually notified me that that is the case. So yeah, that was a little bit of an embarrassing moment, but hey, at least I got it figured out. So alright, let's fill all of these with steel plates, and then we can continue with doing these timer blocks. Okay, so they're all full of steel plates now. I guess I should go ahead and paint these things as well. Let's make them red. Why not? Because red seems to be like an appropriate color for these things. So we'll make these things red. Maybe, you know what? I might even try this neon colorable surface paint job. Let's try that, and let's see what it looks like when I paint them that color. It's a little bit brighter, so they kind of stand out a little bit more. Okay, cool. There we go. Fantastic. Alright, so they are all red now, and everything is looking pretty good. So if we stand back here, then it actually looks quite good. Right, so moving on. Now, I have played around with the timer blocks a little bit in Creative, and I've worked out roughly how many timer blocks we need. So we need around about 6 timer blocks to get this all working. And then, so the first thing I need to do is create a timer block for this piston. So I'm going to set up this piston very similar to how I've done the satellite dish, how it basically moves back and forth. So what we'll do is we'll set up a timer block to reverse this piston, and then we will set up the timer block to start itself again every 5 seconds. So, but the first thing I need to do is kind of figure out the speed at which I want this piston to go. So I'm thinking we can probably, all right, let's set the speed of this to about, let's go about 3 meters per second and see how that looks.
Let me just reverse this though. I'll do it through build vision though, so I can kind of see what I'm doing. Alright, so let's reverse it. I don't know. That seems like it's a little bit too fast. So let's change the speed here to about... let's press enter here and we will go with 2.0. So we'll go with 2 meters per second. So since the piston goes a full range of 10 meters, then it should take 5 seconds to go from side to side. So we know at least that we need the first timer block to have a delay of 5 seconds before it starts itself again to reverse the movement. Now, the question is, where am I going to put these timer blocks? I think what I'll do is I'm just going to place them up here. Because, I mean, honestly, if I put them anywhere in this room, then they're liable to get hit by gunfire, and that's not really what I want. It's not really ideal. So let's withdraw the components for 6 of these timer blocks. Probably grab more than I need to, but hey, at least we won't run out. So I think I'll just place them maybe just here. That will do. So where are my timer blocks? Here we go. Alright, let's make I guess this color. It doesn't really matter because I'm not even going to see them, but oh well, we'll just place them here anyway. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, before I'm going to weld these up, I should probably think about naming them first. So let's just do that. So I'll give them the name, a temporary name at the moment of, let's find our timer blocks that are incomplete. So, I don't know, we'll call these target timer 1 through to target timer 1 through to 6. Cool, now they're welded up, now let's start setting them up. Okay, so we'll do this through, I might actually put a seat down here, maybe that might be a little bit easier. I suppose I can just use the control panel here. But what I probably should do is put down my single button panel here, like I mentioned I was going to do before. So we'll grab the components for 2 of these, I'll place one on this side and then another one on this side as well. I guess I could, I can't place it there. Alright, so it's got to go there, that's fine. Doesn't really matter where it is placed. Okay, cool. So can't access the control panel through there, so we're going to have to access it through here. So let's find our timer blocks. So we got target timer 1 through to 6. So this one will be target 1, timer 1, and I'm going to need 3 timers for the first, for the first target. So timer 1 is going to be the timer that controls the piston movement. So to do that, what we're going to do here is we're going to find our target timer 1. And what we're going to do is we're going to set the delay to 5 seconds on this one. Then we're going to go to setup actions. We're going to find our piston and we're going to select reverse. Then we're going to find target timer 1 again, which will be target timer 1, and then we're going to hit start. So now when I go to start this, then in 5 seconds it should reverse its movement and then go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So let's just test that and make sure that is actually working. Oh, of course. Okay. It seems like it's not working because I've probably selected the wrong piston. Oh man, I really don't want to know what piston I actually selected for that. Oh no. Alright, timer 1. Setup actions. Oh, Nomad Jack pistons. Remove. Oh, that's bad. Oh no, I probably should have named... Alright, let's stop that timer because we don't want that running. Okay, I guess we should probably give this a name. So I should probably do that with all the rest of the stuff as well, all the hinges as well. So let's call this target 1 piston. And then we shall rename this hinge here to target 1 hinge. So we'll rename this. And then, so target 1 hinge. And then we'll go and do this exact same thing for all the rest of these hinges. Alright, cool. So they're all renamed. I did have to take a quick trip down to the garage. Oh, I fell down a hole. I did have to take a quick trip down to the garage just to make sure that the Nomad was alright, and yeah, everything is hunky-dory, so my little mistake didn't cost me too much. Thankfully Clang didn't punish me for that one. Alright, so what I'm going to do though is I'm going to reverse all of these hinges, so we'll just quickly do that because I want these to be in the down position to make sure that all of this logic stuff kind of works. Alright, so now all of these hinges are set to the downward position, and I've gone ahead and I've set the speed on all of these to be 10 meters per second, or is it 10 revolutions per second? I don't know, whatever the speed is, it is set to 10. Okay, now we can start setting up our timer blocks. Alright, okay, let's go back in here, let's find our timer block, our first timer block. So we'll find this one, set up actions. Now we want to select the right piston. So let's go target piston 1, and then we will go to reverse. Okay, now we will exit this and we will trigger this now so that it starts moving immediately. And there we go, now it's moving. So as you can see, it's basically, yeah, just going to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Now, for the moment, what I'm going to do is just leave the piston like this, constantly moving. Maybe at some stage I might have to replace these blocks that are surrounding the piston with like blast door blocks because they have a smaller collision. But I don't know, it doesn't seem to be doing any damage at the moment, so we'll just kind of leave it the way it is for now. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want this target to pop up for a period of time. And I'm thinking here what we'll do is we'll probably let the target pop up for about 15 seconds until it pops down again, and then I want this target to pop up for 15 seconds, pop down, and then so on and so forth for all the rest of them. So what we'll do is we'll find our target timer number 1. So target 1 timer number 2, we'll set this to 15 seconds. Then we will go to set up actions. Actually, I don't even think I need to put a delay here. So what we'll do is we'll go to set up actions. And then we will select target 1 hinge. So target 1 hinge. And we shall reverse that. Okay, now let's go to target 1 timer 3. We'll set that delay to be 15 seconds. We will go to set up actions, and then we will find our what do we want here? We want the target 1 hinge to reverse. So this will be the timer block that will actually pop the target back down. So target timer 2 or target 1 timer 2 will pop it up, and target 1 timer 3 will pop it back down, which is this one. So we want to reverse this thing again. Okay, so now let's go back to target 1 timer 2. Let's go back into setup actions, and here I want to start my timer 3. So what my button is going to do is this button here. We will set this to, so target 1 timer 2. So we are going to trigger this now. So when I push this button, then the target will pop up. And then what I want to happen, let's go back into target 1 timer 2. Let's go back into here, set up actions, and we want this to start timer 3.
Energy critical.
So we want timer 3. So target 1 timer 3, and then we want to start that one. Okay, fantastic. So that's all we really need to do for these 2 timer blocks. So now when I press this, press F, then the target should pop up, and then it should stay up for about 15 seconds and then pop back down again. So let's just make sure that that works. Cool. Alright, so we know that works. Fantastic. Now we can start setting up the timer blocks for the other targets. Right, so let's find our timer blocks, and what we're going to do is we're just going to have a target 2 timer and a target 3 timer and a target 4 timer. So target 3, and then target 4. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to set all of these to have a delay of 15 seconds. You can adjust this however you want, but this is basically how I'm going to do it. So all this value here really does is determine how long the target is actually going to stay up for before it then pops back down again. Alright, so now what we got to do is we have to set it up so that as this target here is folding down, this one is folding up. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the same timer block that is responsible for folding this one down to fold this target up. And that is essentially, let's find out here. I believe it was timer 2. So, no, sorry, my bad. It was target 1, timer 3 is responsible for popping the first target back down. So we also want this one to pop the second target up. So we're going to go into setup actions here, and what we're going to do is we're going to find our target 2 hinge. So we'll find our target 2 hinge, and then we shall reverse that. Fantastic. Okay, and then also what we need to do here is we need to set up the target 2 timer, and this is going to be responsible for popping the second target back down again. So we're going to go into here, we're going to find our hinge. So target, let's find target hinge number 2, and we're going to reverse that. Okay, so then what we're going to do in target 1 timer 3 is we're going to get this thing to trigger this target here. So yeah, so basically, okay, so this one here triggers timer 1-3 to start, which has a delay of 15 seconds. And after 15 seconds, it's basically going to pop down this hinge and then pop up this hinge. Then what we want to do is we want to start the next timer in the chain, which will be timer 2. So the target 2 timer. So we're going to start that. And then what will happen is after 15 seconds of the target popping up, it will then trigger it to pop back down again. Okay, so let's test this out. Hopefully that makes sense. It does get quite complicated, but yeah, feel free to watch this portion of the video as many times as you wish, because yeah, I'm sure my explanation is not 110% crystal clear. Okay, so this should stay up for 15 seconds, and then when this one pops down, the next one should pop up, and then 15 seconds after that, that one should pop down. Okay, so let's see if that's the case. Okay, fantastic. This one's now popped up. Now this one should pop back down again, and I really hope that this works, because yeah. And there we go. Fantastic. Okay, so it works. So now we just have to kind of do that through the chain of all these timers. So let's have a look here. Let's go back into our timers. Let's set this up for the next one. So we've got target 2 timer. The actions on this one is to reverse the hinge. So this is what pops the target 2 back down again. So while target 2 is popping down, we want target 3 to pop up. So we'll find our hinge for target number 3. Target 3 hinge, and we shall reverse that. Then we will go to target 3 timer. We will go to setup actions, and we want this to pop target 3 back down again. So let's find our hinge, and we've got target 3 hinge. We will reverse this. And then while we're at it, while we're in here, we will reverse hinge number 4, because we know we're going to need to do that later. Okay, so a bit of a recap. So we've got target 2 hinge reverse, target 3 hinge reverse, and then on target 3 timer, we have target 3 hinge reverse and target 4 hinge reverse. And then finally, on target 4 timer, we'll go to setup actions. Then we'll find our timer hinge number 4. Target hinge number 4. Target hinge number 4, and we shall reverse that. Okay, so now they've all got a delay of 15 seconds. So now what we want to do is target 3 timer. We want to go, or target 2 timer. So let me just double check this here. So target 2 timer start. Okay, cool. So then what we want to do here is we want to go to setup actions, and we want to set up the timer number 3. So timer 3, timer, target 3 timer, start. And then this one, I want to set up actions, and I want to find timer number 4. So target 4 timer, start. Okay, so hopefully this makes sense, because this one is closing target 3, opening target 4, then it is sending a signal to the timer block that closes target 4 and has a 15-second delay. So 15 seconds after this pops up, this timer block will activate, and if we look in the setup actions for here, we are reversing the hinge, which will then close the target again. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, let us test this out and see if it actually works. I might actually speed this up though, because yeah, it's quite slow. Fantastic, and there we have it. So it is all working very cool. Yeah, so like I said, I really hope that all of that was kind of understandable. If it wasn't, then I guess I can write it down on a piece of paper or something like that, or make a, I don't know, some sort of document that explains it a little bit better than what I do in this video. But yeah, if you are interested in that, then definitely let me know down in the comments. Okay, so now, the one thing I do not like about this whole setup is the fact that this piston is going back and forth constantly. I don't really love that idea. So I was kind of thinking, how do I actually do this? I think I can get around this, provided this actually works. So first of all, let's find the target timer number 1, which is responsible for actually, how would you say it? Yeah, pushing the piston back and forth. Let's stop that. So now it won't push it the other way. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want this button to trigger both this hinge to pop up and this timer here to start. Or at least the timer that controls this hinge to start or trigger, and the timer that triggers the piston to trigger. So what we're going to have to do is create a group of those two timer blocks, but I can't do that from here. I'm going to have to do that from here. So let's find our target timers once again. So target 1 and 2, we'll call this the initiation group, I guess. Initiation target group. That'll do, because I honestly can't think of anything better than that. Right, okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to find my groups, and let's just type in target. Let us remove this target 1 timer 2 trigger now. Remove that, and then we'll add our initiation group. Right click that, and then we'll go trigger now. So when I push the big red button, it will trigger both of the timers for those 2 blocks. Now, what it's not going to do is it's not going to stop the piston going back and forth when all the other targets open. When this is finished and the timer and the 15 seconds runs out, I want that piston to stop. So the only way to do that would be to then go into target 1, timer 3, which basically pops down this hinge to also stop this piston. So let's go into our settings here. So target timer 1, timer 3, we'll go to setup actions. Now what we want is timer 1, which is responsible for the piston. I should have probably called this target 1 piston timer instead of timer 1, but That's alright. Okay, so, and then what we want to do is we want to go stop. So that will immediately stop the piston, or at least if it's like, you know, halfway through a 5-second routine, it will stop after 2.5 seconds or something like that. Okay, so now let's test this out. So when I push this button, the piston should start moving and the target should pop up. Let's test this out. Fantastic. Okay, so this part works pretty good. Now what should happen is the target should drop down and the piston should stop. So let's just make sure that that actually works. And it does. Fantastic. That is awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Alright, well, this has kind of exceeded my wildest expectations, and yeah, that was a bit of a bugger to figure that one out. I can tell you that much. Okay, so now we can start thinking about some other things, like what sort of barriers I want to put in front of these guys. Some maybe a roof on this place, and I do have an idea for some sort of baffling along the sides here. As somebody in the comments section of last week's video mentioned that, you know, it would probably be a good idea to have some baffling on the sidewalls, but I don't know. Let's see how we're going for time. Well, unfortunately, it seems like we have run out of time in this episode, so all of the decorations and things and finishing up this room will have to wait until next episode. I do kind of apologize for the first half of the episode being a little bit slow, but yeah, I was quite sick at the time, so it, yeah, I was actually amazed that I even got as far as I did at that point. But yeah, I mean, overall, I'm pretty happy with how this room turned out. Like I said, the timer blocks were a bit of a mission to figure out, but I did get it figured out, and I think it's working pretty nicely. So, really hope you enjoyed the episode, guys. Hopefully you learned something with these timer blocks, and I hope to see you in the next episode. If you liked this video, definitely consider leaving a like, and don't forget to subscribe so that you get notified every time I release a new video. Alright, thanks guys, and I will see you next time.